Y'all let me know if y'all want me to react to that. Actually, no. Y'all ready to talk? Let's talk about snitching for a little bit. Y'all talk about snitching? Let's talk about snitching. Let's talk about snitching first. And before we get to Meg, we got to talk about this, okay? So, it's interesting when I keep saying when people are talking about like cooperating things like that, it's very selective. It's very subjective too. Everybody who doesn't like snitches doesn't like the snitches that other people don't like. They don't like the people who might be seen as cooperating that is in their camp, their friends. They're not speaking out about those people like how they speak about the random stranger. Now, this is not a 6ix9ine defense at all. This is just the reality of the situation, right? If Troy Ave takes the stand, everybody's up in arms. 6ix9ine takes a stand, everybody up in arms. Somebody else write a statement, write to a judge. We ain't see that. Oh, let's blame it on the lawyer. It's super different. Now, let me show something and post something that I think you all should have known, right? What this is an appellate court filing. If you guys don't know, Rondonumbanine, I'm used to cover him in Chirac. He was ultimately convicted of a crime with Cdai. So Rondonumbanine and Cdai allegedly killed a cab driver. This is a appeal from Rondonumbanine. And I'm going to read you some very important things about it because I want to know where, and this is some people say, yo, why sometimes you be having fun while pointing out some of these things? Because I've always said the streets don't make sense. It picks and chooses, and there's no real code to the streets. The code to the streets is to be hypocritical. Rules for them, not rules for you. Rules for that gang, but not rules for your gang. Let's get into it. So it says the people of the state of Illinois and the plaintiff, the appellee, versus Clint Massey. Clint Massey is Rondo number 9. Okay, we're going to go down to some of the arguments that was made. Okay, here we go. Opinion. Clint Massey and his co-defendant Courtney Ely, this is Cdai, were convicted of murder in the shooting death of Javon Boyd. The state's evidence showed that Boyd, a private taxi driver, was waiting for fare when Massey and Ely approached the taxi and shot Boyd. Although there was conflicting evidence as who did the shooting. On appeal, this is what he's arguing on appeal. Massey's arguing that his counsel, so Rondonumbanine is arguing that his counsel, which is his lawyers, was ineffective, so did not do a good job for not more vigorously pursuing a defense theory that Cdai was the sole shooter. What's that? Is if you appeal by saying, I think I deserve a new trial because my lawyer didn't blame my co-defendant enough. What do you think? This is what I always tell people. The conversation of snitching will end all street rap. Remember I told you that. Because all of these niggas have cases and all these niggas don't want to be in jail. According to what snitching and the thugs of, or the gangsters or whatever, say snitching is, or what you should do, you could only lose. Now, this is normal if you're a civilian. If you're a civilian, this isn't snitching. You're creating reasonable doubt. This isn't snitching. This would be like, well, my lawyer didn't create enough reasonable doubt by saying, I ain't shoot him, maybe the other guy shoot him. For a civilian, reasonable doubt. For a gangster, this is truth-telling. Why are you bringing up another man's name? That's what the streets and the idiots tell us. So we're going to go off of what they say. On appeal, Massey, which is Rondonumbanine, accuses or argues that his lawyer was ineffective for not more rigorously pursuing the defense theory that Cdai was the only shooter. The court trial erred in allowing hearsay regarding what Massey was wearing the night of the murder, and a mistrial should have been granted because the victim's family made an outburst during trial. Prior to the trial ended, the court erred when it conducted a material witness without notice to Massey. We declined to adjudicate Massey's last contention since it relies on matters outside the record, blah, 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 fight no, whatever. Now, this is the background. It's going to talk about the allegations, okay? They're going to say, and I'm going to get more into some Ely shit. So Ely and Cdai. They're saying both Herbert and Johns, these are witnesses shooting. Herbert saw Massey and Ely open Boyd's passenger side door and then saw Massey firing the gun. She heard 5 or 4 gunshots, after which Massey and Ely returned to the red car and drove away. So the witnesses saw that Rondonumbanine did the shooting, okay? But they want him to get out of the sentence and conviction by saying, well, was it really Rondonumbanine? Maybe the other guy shot him. It's probably the guy he was with. They're not even arguing that Rondo wasn't there. They're saying like, let's assume he was there. All right, we're going to go with that one. But how you know he shot him, though? At trial, they say they didn't see the actual gun, blah, blah, blah. But in a prior statement to detectives, Johns identified Cdai as the shooter. After the shooting, D. Rose ran back to the car and got inside and said, shit, he's dead. Massey and Ely ran back to one of the other vehicles, and all 3 vehicles drove away. As they left, Johns could see Boyd's slumped over in his car. It was captured on surveillance footage. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Yeah. Back to this analysis. So they're analyzing what happened in court. Rondonumbanine is arguing that his trial counsel, which is his trial attorneys, was ineffective for not vigorously pursuing a defense theory that Cdai was the sole shooter. Right? Let's talk about that. Right here. They argue they should have pursued that Cdai was the sole shooter and that Massey was not accountable for Cdai's action. Basically saying, my lawyer should have said, that nigga did it, and I ain't know he was going to do nothing, and I'm not responsible. More specifically, Massey argues that the counsel should have, 1, moved to sever trial. So basically to say, we're not co-defendants, I want separate trial. Objected to the admission of hearsay statements from Ely. Oh, what does that sound like, people? There was statements from Ely, which is Cdai, that they believe incriminated Rondo. So they said that Rondo's team should have objected to it. And they should have argued in closing that Ely was the sole shooter and objected to Ely's closing argument that Ely wasn't the sole shooter. To establish an effective assistance of counsel, the defendant must prove that counsel's performance was objectively unreasonable, and for counsel's errors, the outcome of the proceeding would have been different. They cite a couple of cases basically saying that, if Rondonumbanine isn't the shooter, he shouldn't be found guilty, and shit, if he was just on for the ride and he didn't know what's going on, he's not guilty of those charges that he got, which would be first-degree murder. By the way, Rondonumbanine has life. A defense decision to seek a severance is generally considered trial strategy. Moreover, it's well established that defendants jointly indicted are to be jointly tried unless fairness to one defendant requires a separate trial to avoid prejudice. Why does he want the trials to be separate? Because he's saying, that nigga did it. I didn't do it. Is this just a legal maneuvering? Or is this truth-telling? You let me know. All right. Here, Ely made no admission that implicated Massey. He implicated himself. They're saying that Cdai told himself by telling Brown that he asked the victim if he was over here, and he said it was a man down, meaning the victim was dead, but Ely did not mention Massey. Massey, blah, blah, da, 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 da. Although we agree that Massey and Ely are defensive or potentially antagonistic, we disagree that any resulting antagonism was prejudicial to Massey. On the contrary, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's not get too much into this. You get what I'm saying. The events that happened that led up to the death of that cab driver and ultimately Cdai and Rondonumbanine going to jail, actually prison. Very sad. I'm going to tell you why it's very sad. Very sad just because the streets or the street code that they thought they were following is what got them in jail. Now they're left to play legal games. This is not against street code, if you ask me. It's legal games. Blame the shooting on anybody but yourself to try to get yourself out of it. Try to bring up in court any other reason why you couldn't have done it. But according to the street code, that's snitching. It's sad that these individuals have to use these tactics after they're convicted and get life, but didn't realize that their actions in the streets would lead to this happening, which may have made them rethought their decision to do it at all before we got here. That's my only thing about that. All right. Anyway, if you guys want to go look this up, I'll put this. I'll put the. It's a public report. It's in the appellate court. Okay. The Illinois official report. People of the state of Illinois versus the plaintiff, which is the appellee, Clip Massey. Okay. Or appellee. Well, the plaintiff is the appellee, and the Clip Massey is the appellant, which is the defendant. All right. Okay. We do have some more court stuff, and I don't want to bore you to death with the court shit, right? But we do have to get to this, people. We got to get to this one. Holy. We got the whole motion for Tories. And by the way, before I play this, let me, you know, Mama always say, you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. So I got some nice shit to say first. So let's scroll down. Let's scroll down. Could we find it, people? Could we find it? I think I'm finna find it. Here we go. So Meg Thee Stallion, she recently threw out the first pitch at the Houston Astros game. Here it is.
She was practicing beneath the stadium just a few minutes ago.